He told me when he said, son, don't fear. Mike's where the page life is about to be. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just look on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. There'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells you, friend, Mike, he's your man. Then he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nation Pride.
All right, look at that. Here we are again, talking about another hurricane coming towards Florida. Can't believe it. All right, let me get things rolling, make sure everything's working here. So today's Tuesday. This is our Daily Brew. I am Mike from Mike's Weather Page. We go live all the time. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Welcome, everybody. I'm based out of Oldsmar, which is close to Tampa Bay, and appreciate all the longtime followers and fans and all the new people this year. We appreciate you joining our little weather community. This one's going to be a little more short and sweet. We usually do a lot more hellos. We got a new NHC advisory coming out, a very important NHC advisory coming out in about 30 minutes. I'll stay for that for sure. But this thing's coming. Hurricane Nicole likely. It's not a hurricane yet. Not a hurricane yet. But I have a feeling this thing's going to be stronger than what they are showing at 5 o'clock. Major hurricane, yeah. But as far as strong Cat 1, Cat 2 is definitely thinking it's very possible. That's going to change things up a little bit. I would almost bet $1 million if I had $1 million. 11 o'clock, or 10 o'clock, we're gonna see hurricane warnings for a big chunk of the Florida East Coast. Nothing's official with that, of course. So our Daily Brew brought to you by great friends at ABC. I got a picture of the dogs here, by the way. That's the reason I'm looking at my phone. Hunter had ammonia, and he's sleeping with his brother now, so I don't want to bother him. So I'm going to show you the dogs. That's what they look like right now. I just took their picture. Hunter sleeps on his brother, and he's done that since he's been a baby. And it keeps his nose clear. It's almost like his way that he's found out that he breathes better. And he's not making those snorts today, so it's getting better. So I'm going to leave him alone. I don't want to bother him, But anyway, I'll be visiting my local ABC on the way out of town, or I might hit the ABC. I'm heading over there to Volusia County today. I'm going over to the Daytona Beach area, meet some folks, and start tracking this thing. So I'll be heading over that way. Official supply store of Florida. We got hurricane parties coming for a lot of y'all, and the timing is now. Latest spaghetti models just came out, the 00Zs. We have seen a tick north in the modeling. The crossover into the Gulf is looking less likely. Another classic windshield wiper effect system. We saw this east, west. Now it's kind of right back in the middle. Kind of what Ian was doing a little bit. So confidence pretty high this thing is going to make landfall middle part of the state. We have very, very, very large wind field on this system. So a lot of people are going to be feeling this outside of the actual center. Tropical storm force winds all the way up through the East Coast, all the way through the state of Florida. We might get warnings here on the West Coast because the wind fields are so large. That would mean school closures possibly Thursday for the West Coast of Florida. I would not be surprised if we didn't see that. So we're going to have an all brand new advisory in an hour. I suspect that we will see hurricane warnings up for possibly a big chunk of the state here. Maybe not so far south. Maybe that far south. I don't know. But we are going to see hurricane warnings, guaranteed. And we're going to see evacuations, more than likely, because of this beach erosion. So there's going to be a lot of folks going to be saying, what? We're going to see a lot of beach erosion with this system, forcing mandatory evacuations. There's a lot of barrier islands, Melbourne, all the way up to past Daytona Beach. Possibly could have evacuations coming. So this is real, folks. This is, mandatory evacuations. Nothing official with that. Wait for 10:30, but if this thing strengthens a little bit more, this is no longer a weak little system. So my only concern with this is that we're starting to see. So here's some of the latest. These maps will all get tweaked if the system is stronger. So I have a surge map. Rainfall now has been pretty predictable. I will say this. By this time with Ian and other systems, Harvey especially, we were seeing 20 inches plus on models. And that was consistency with Icon, Euro, GFA. We have not seen that with this system. So a little bit of good news at least. We're not seeing Ian-style rainfall. But we are seeing an orange area pop up. Yellow's 4 to 6. We will see people inching towards double digits likely if this thing sets up in rain train. So there will be flooding. There will be, heavy rains all the way through the state. But as far as those 20 inches plus, it's not showing up. But St. Johns River is already saturated because of Ian. We have tremendous winds blowing in on the north side. We've been covering this for over a week now, but these winds are going to be blowing into that St. Johns River, bringing in salt water. So on top of some rain and saltwater intrusion from the coast, the St. John's is going to have some issues there too. So this is your current rainfall. They have a flooding map out, slight risk of flooding, and that stretches all the way to the, Florida, central Florida, west coast here. And our system's going to turn up and go, towards the Carolinas and Georgia. A lot of folks are always asking, talk about our area more. Well, the only good news is it's going to be over land. It's going to be weakening. There's a frontal line coming down, and it's going to turn into more of a classic, almost nor'easter style setup where we have a frontal line coming in, adding to the storms that is the energy from Nicole. So it's supposed to be subtropical sort of system here. It's going to be one day, Friday to Saturday, and it'll be long gone by the weekend. So that's the only good news, too, is that this thing is going to race on out of here. Shouldn't be around for much of anybody on Saturday. It could be some lingering stuff, maybe Virginia northward Saturday, but Saturday evening, totally gone. There's a big bad cold front coming down. We got 30s, we got 20s. We got 20s down in the middle parts, possibly of Georgia, Alabama, maybe. Definitely in the higher elevations, but 20s and 30s down to possibly the Panhandle this Saturday night. We got 40s way down south in the peninsula this weekend. So cold front coming. This is your wind field. Look how large this is. A wind field of tropical storm force winds. It's important to note wherever this thing makes landfall, generally, the worst weather is to the north of the eye when you have a East Coast system making landfall in Florida. So the farther south you go from that final eye, the less effects, because we're going to have winds coming in off the land. The biggest surge always to the north of center, always. So the surge south of center, the winds are coming at you opposite. So we're going to start seeing watches and warnings now. A lot of warning. Everybody, tons of phones are going to be going off here in the next 30 minutes. Everybody's phones on that East Coast is probably going to ding at the same time. There's going to be warnings galore. Now, again, this is no Ian as far as winds and surge goes, okay? The Ian, strong Cat 4 officially, very low pressure, obviously strong winds and surge. However, this one's got the potential to be a Cat 1, possibly Cat 2, and wherever it decides to make landfall, you're going to have damages. You're going to have widespread power outages. We're going to have inland, effects going across the state. We're going to have squall lines, typical tropical storm force with higher gusts. We're going to have tornadoes. The SPC is already starting to show this, Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow. This likely might get yellow, but here's your area. These are the areas that are going to be counterclockwise spinning coming in off of the Atlantic. So storm chances will increase. Tornado chances will increase tomorrow. Tornadoes are possible. Wednesday afternoon going into the night, especially overnight. Landfall in the system is appearing to be more Wednesday night now into early Thursday morning. So, possibly a overnight landfall, overnight hours. Storm Prediction Center showing this for, what day am I on today? I have no idea what day of the week it is anymore. Today is, what day is today? Today is Tuesday, I think. I'm totally lost all of a sudden. Today is Tuesday. So this is Thursday, obviously, Thursday. So as our system turns Thursday, does its thing, we're going to start getting tropical storm force winds pulling in off that Atlantic, and storm chances are going to remain as this thing moves off to the northeast. So, all right, let's look at a lot of the individual models. So we know we got a tick to the north. That means, a little more chance for landfall around maybe the Melbourne area, Cocoa Beach area as far as landfall. If I had to guess, that generalized central coastal area. But the effects to the north are huge. Like I said, the hurricane warnings that are going to probably come out very soon and the mandatory evacuations is because of this persistent winds we've been yakking about forever. We have high tide tonight. We have a new moon tonight, the Beaver moon, whatever the heck that means. And those winds are going to be pushing into the Atlantic on top of this thing. I'm seeing a deepening system here that we need to watch close. It's starting to actually get that look, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. We have outflow to the north, which helps ventilate a system. Sometimes the frontal boundary left over on the north side will help accelerate the system more as far as intensification goes. We're starting to see some lightning here. These little yellow dots represent lightning. So it's definitely intensifying. The trick of this is, I've seen this a lot over the years, models get data put into them. Okay, the current euro that just ran, the 06Z, the freshest euro, was initializing at 999 millibar. This system officially now is at 992 millibar. So as the Euro's predicting a 989, 990 landfall, it's already off, 7 millibar. So that means it's now low 90, 980. You see what I'm saying? So it's strengthening quicker than some of these models. Some of these models didn't even show it making landfall at 992, and it's already 992. It's got a good 36 hours plus over hot water. That water is 82, 83, 84 degrees. The ocean heat content is very warm underneath. We have a very light shear environment. It's not perfect, but it's lighter shear. We have a lighter shear environment above. This thing's going to keep on developing. Pressures usually drop before the winds pick up. So that's just deceiving. You'll see 989, let's say, 980. It might not have the winds that typically a 980 have, but the winds catch up. So you'll see a pressure drop first, and then you see the winds catch up officially. But what they're gonna look for is convection starting to show up around the center, and once that starts to happen, then the transition to tropical will happen. So there it is. There's a little bubbling going on. This is on weathernerds.org, by the way. I have them linked on my site. Great source of satellite imagery. And you're starting to see more convection, more lightning, indicating developing system, and a lot of this convection is north of center right now, but there's not a lot of shear. Wind shear is pretty light over top of it, so I really suspect this thing it's non-existent. This is very light wind shear. So man, we gotta they always underestimate intensity, always. So that's not good news right there. Low shear environment is definitely not good for a developing system. And it's got more than if this was now, if this was making landfall 6 hours from now, it wouldn't be a big deal. But it's got a good almost 2 days over water, and this is concerning. This could be a sneaky cat to who the heck knows. I'd hate to say 3, but if this thing keeps dropping pressure, we got problems. Here is the wind field. I added these from Boat US. This is the yellow area is tropical storm force winds. Blue is, I think, mid-range, almost middle red's hurricane. This just gives you an idea how big the wind field is. I've never seen a wind field this large where it doesn't even make the screen. It's massive. I think the NHC is mentioning the wind field is actually 380 miles from the center. That's crazy. 400 miles from the center, we have tropical storm force winds. Oh, and other news. Good news, by the way. I meant to say this at the beginning. Now, we probably have everybody watching. I was very fortunate, again, to be reached out by the Florida Department of Emergency Management. And Mr. Kevin Guthrie and I are going to be doing a Zoom more than likely tonight, talking about the effects to Florida. I was seeing if they confirmed a time right now. Oh, looks good. Maybe 8 o'clock. Hold on a second. 8. Looks like 8 o'clock. So, hey, how about that for an old redneck storm chaser? We actually have an interview with the director, Mr. Kevin Guthrie. How about that? Can you believe that? You've probably seen him during Ian. He's been on every single press, every update from Ian. He's been on the screen. He is department or division, Florida Division of Emergency Management. So watch for that tonight, 8 o'clock, one-on-one with the state of Florida, talking about Nicole. Pretty cool news, right? So we'll be doing that. I'll be doing that remotely, actually. As poor Shelley has to be preparing for a hurricane, I'll be over there talking a few miles away. All right, so there you go. Huge wind field, tropical storm all the way across the state. Timing, let's look at some individual models here. We're going to start to see tropical storm force winds tomorrow reaching the state. Here is your time frame. We're looking at Wednesday, 8 a.m., already into South Florida. These are the rain bands coming in, squally weather. It's tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 a.m. So tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 a.m., this is your Wednesday, 8 a.m. line. Wednesday, 8 p.m. right here. By tomorrow evening, we're already going to see tropical storm force winds up, pushing through the middle part of the peninsula. Great map showing you when you could potentially see tropical storm force winds entering the state. It's on the site. Everything's on the site. Surge maps. All this is going to get updated at 10 o'clock. I suspect we're going to see higher surge numbers, potentially because we're going to show a little bit stronger, potentially storm, I have a feeling, coming. All right, so let's look at all the models. This is all the latest models here. We'll go to tropical tidbits. We'll start out with the hurricane-specific models. I'm afraid that our trusty H. Wharf was correct all along. H-Wharf is about, in my opinion, 75% right with intensity the last couple years. You got to believe in the models that you're going to advertise, and that's kind of what I did during Ian. I didn't advertise GFS. If you've noticed, I haven't been advertising the Euro very much because just a couple days ago it was showing 1,007 millibar system hitting Florida. So everybody's got access to the same information. It's just how you present it. And unfortunately, this 970 scenario could actually come into play here. This is what it would look like tomorrow morning near in the Bahamas, 983. And, the last update, 971, just below the Cape. Now, the track on the H-Wharf isn't always the best, but we're within a window that everything's getting pretty tight this close to landfall. So 971, that ain't nothing to laugh about, That's borderline, 2-ish. The old Saffir-Simpson scale that they used to use pressure, their cutoff for Category 2 is 965 to 979, and surge of 6 to 8 feet. So the surge is still pretty good. If we see a Cat 2, surge is obviously going to be increased along the Florida East Coast, around landfall northward. But this is what I'm worried about. The wind field, just to show you that, it is going to be massive to the north. Not hurricane force winds, but all these winds are going to be pushing in from the Atlantic, and very strong winds, obviously, now that it's a real hurricane around that eye wall. And the H-Wharf has it not really losing much punch going through the state. So here's the one thing that always gets overlooked is inland effects. All right, people are asking about Orlando. Look, Orlando, right? If this thing comes to your south, you're going to be getting a lot of storms. This thing's going to spiral by. You could have some of the same effects that Irma came through, Charlie came through, possibly. You could have the same effects that Ian had inland, because Ian weakened, pretty quick because it sat on the coast, but it was still a one middle part of the state, weakening a little bit on exit. Then it came back. So a Category 1, if you've been around Irma and Charlie and even Ian, these winds that we could possibly see throughout the state, are going to be quite gusty, meaning power outages. This is Thursday. The timing should be in your head. Wednesday to Thursday, landfall Wednesday night, but there's going to be winds ahead of it. So tomorrow things are starting to go downhill. These bands are going to start making their way in. SPC is already showing green tomorrow, meaning that we could see tornadoes. All the way through. God, I hit that at least every damn time. Tornadoes, depending on. It probably wouldn't be that far south. Probably more like that. Maybe not even that far south. But tornadoes are going to be coming in tomorrow as this thing comes through. So we're going to see school closings. Everything's going to be based on this next update. If we get hurricane warnings and talk about a strengthening system, then I think they're going to talk about it. I bet you they bump the winds up to 85. They never make knee-jerk reactions, but they're probably going to talk about the organization is happening quicker than they won't say than they anticipated, but they're going to organization's occurring quick, and it's got plenty of time over warm water under a light sheared environment. That is recipe for a developing hurricane to get stronger. If this was August, September, luckily the waters aren't that hot, but they are 82, 83, 84 degrees still. And the ocean heat content is still warm. This is what it would look like radar-wise. That update's coming out any second, so let me speed up here a little bit. Here's what the rain bands can look like. Good news again, same as we talked about last night. Folks that were hit from Ian, you're going to get an occasional squall line come through tomorrow sometime, but luckily it won't be persistent. It won't be long. It'll be normal, hopefully thunderstorm stuff you're used to already. South side of the system usually not as bad as the north side, but my still concern, even though this is inland some, I still think we're going to be surprised with some storms coming in off of the Gulf into central West Coast, Tampa Bay, Manatee, maybe a little bit in the Sarasota maybe. But you can see how the squall line will set up. So tomorrow, we could see some storms trying to develop off of the coast and a little bit of surge. I still think this thing will be moving quick enough that we won't have a lot of water piling up, but we could see surge values increase here on the Florida West Coast, low-lying areas, especially in the Tampa Bay. You can see the spiraling here coming in from our system. Still watching that. However, going deep in the Gulf, that trend is wiggled back to more where it all began with going pretty deep into Florida with that turn into the Panhandle. Panhandle's still going to see tropical storm force. All you got to do is, see the NHC S and timestamps, and you'll see that tropical storm force winds will still be into Georgia. All the way through, actually. So even though this is subtropical S, we're gonna have tropical storm force winds all the way up. Remember, and this thing is so wide that for sure everybody along this coastline is going to see tropical storm force winds with the possibility of squall lines coming in off that warm Gulf Stream as this thing races on by. The H wharf doesn't go out too far yet. But again, I don't really trust that model for track. But intensity, yes. All right, so it's showing 971. HMON is showing 979, 980, which isn't bad. It's still strong one, but it didn't get any higher. And GFS is still at 980 with that cut through the state. So everything's pretty much on the plate. Panhandle effects are going to, maybe a little less stretching the farther west you go. But notice this, we got that incoming front, right, coming down, and we're starting to see the effects of a sheared system. And here is where it starts getting the storms. So sheared system incoming Thursday, Friday with that incoming front. It's going to start blowing our moisture off to the northeast. And that's exactly what it looks like. In fact, let's go here and show you kind of what overall it's going to look like as our incoming system comes into play. So here you go. This is all tropicaltidbits.com, by the way. I forgot to mention, but Levi will forgive me. Here it is. Here's that front coming in. Here's Thursday, 994, but that's wrong as far as intensity goes. But you'll start to see this thing merge with that front. See that? So typical nor'easter style setup here. And we could see some pretty hefty rains, North Carolina northward, Virginia, into Pennsylvania, New York, as this thing merges with that frontal line. And again, here's Saturday morning. It's pretty much long gone by Saturday morning. So there's your East Coast effects. Not necessarily a storm, more of a strong frontal line that you're so used to seeing this time of year. It's just going to have a little bit more energy because it's going to have this low pressure still in the mix. So it could get, and we do, I tell you what, the flooding potential for rain, as a matter of fact, I think I saw it. I think we're going to see some flooding, unfortunately, on day 3. Oh, we got a new SPC outlook. No, we didn't. That's day 3. Do we have a day 4? I know, I think, where the hell did I see it? I saw it somewhere. But they're already talking about potential impacts on day 4, day 5 for the Northeast with the rains. Might be on this site. But the NHC is coming out any second now. So we're going to see that. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh, there it is. Experimental day 4. All right. So that's kind of rare. You never really see that. So that's day 4. This is Friday into Saturday. Heavy rains across the Northeast from our frontal line merging with Nicole. So there you go. Listen, I'm sure there was a bazillion questions as far as landfall, but you kind of have to just kind of look at these models, trust the NHC, and realize what we're going to see. I think that's about all here. And there's another good link I wanted to share. This one will get updated here soon. All these maps, I really didn't want to share too many of them because they're going to change, I have a feeling, now that I think we're going to see hurricane warnings, evacuations, and potential for stronger system. Here is the wind threat map. These are on my site. I just circled them. They're right here below Nicole. Wind threats are obviously high. This might inch a little more to the north as our track changes have been ticking north. But this is a great map. Shows you we can still have 58 to 73 mile an hour wind gusts through the whole state. I'm thinking, I just told our school bus driver, I bet Pinellas County schools might be closed tomorrow. Just have that weird feeling. For Thursday, not tomorrow, Thursday. Today's Tuesday. Here's storm surge threat. There's your orange. I think this will end up being a little higher. Flooding rain across the state, moderate flooding rain. And here's your tornado threat. So this is a great tool. It changes. It only goes out X amount of hours. It doesn't go out very far into the future. So every update, this will inch a little bit more towards the East Coast. So don't think because there's no color right now, you're not getting anything. It's just the graphic's not available yet. So that'll update every update. So, but again, this is the big story happening right now. These persistent winds are happening off of the northern Florida coast here. This is the big story initially. These are strong winds tonight. High tide tonight, 7, 8 o'clock. We got strong winds rolling in off of the Atlantic, just pounding. Here's the entrance to the St. Johns River. All this area is just going to be getting 24 hours, 48 hours, maybe even more, 72 hours of just straight winds coming in off the Atlantic. Our storm gets a little stronger. They're going to even be stronger winds coming in off the Atlantic. This is, this is what they're worried about. We had a lot of beach erosion from Ian. We're going to see, unfortunately, some of the worst beach erosion possibly some of the areas I've ever seen, with just double back-to-back whammies between Ian and now Nicole. So this is story number one for sure. And these wave maps that we shared yesterday are just unbelievable out in the open Atlantic. This isn't surge. This isn't. I didn't even share it. We talked about it last night because it would probably create panic. But here's your maximum wind or wave heights through this whole storm. And look, they're starting to show this pink area is 45-foot waves out in the Atlantic. The lighter colors starting to pop. These are 50 to 55-foot waves here. And this is all pushing towards Florida. Now, they obviously is not going to be 50-foot surge. Trust me. This is just water being pushed, waves. That just gives you an idea how rough the Atlantic is going to be. So we are 8 or so minutes away, man. This is like suspense for me, man. I don't know what to do with myself. Let's see if the hurricane hunters are out there right now. So I got a link. Listen, everything on the site, man, is right here. Nicole, I got so many awesome links. Tropical Tidbits, Weather Nerds, Boat US, hurricane hunters are out there now. Look at this. They just had a weird shift. Oh, it wasn't a shift. It went a little bit more doing that. It's expected to go a little south because of that high pressure before that turn. So this due west, a little bit of shift south. But look, we're starting to see these stronger winds catching up. This is something we didn't see yesterday. Here's the center. Yesterday, all the winds were way off, showing subtropical. Look at these winds now, inching up there, getting closer to center, meaning we're getting an organized system. Least of pressure is hanging on at 996. That's good news. But that's not official. NHC is at 992. But it hasn't gone down much, so that's good news. So, Cat 1, still the official forecast. Don't ever go away from the NHC for sure. I'm just talking trends here and what we've been seeing with possibility. There's a map that I didn't add. I need to put it on here, but I don't think anybody ever used it, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So let's see, guys. Let's pull our image up here. Let's start doing some refreshes on the storm, and I'll go to Twitter. Twitter usually teases things first. So let's talk. Okay, so I got one more map on here I need to show, the Sierra map. right here, surge forecast. Here is one area that's not being discussed enough, in my opinion. As our system turns, we're going to start to see more and more winds, circling around and turning. This whole southeast section here, North Florida into Georgia, Brunswick, even Savannah, could get some surprise surge. This is another surge source showing potential surge. And, these areas, 7 foot, 7.5 feet. So this is a great site, Tybee Island there. All this Charleston a little bit. People asking about Charleston. As our system now turns northeast, we're going to start to see winds and storms and waves follow along with it. So these areas are going to be watching for potential surge maps. So what I like about this site is it's everything with the whole track of the system. It updates with the NHC. The NHC doesn't go out very far, so don't let your guard down as far as effects past. This is only through Tuesday. No, this is through. Does it tell you where it's through? I don't even know. But these maps get adjusted. Like I was saying, rainfall maps, everything gets adjusted as the system moves off in time. So we could still see effects of some surge across portions of the mid-Atlantic here as our system comes by, depending on strength and exact track. But these numbers are definitely worth to keep a look out. But again, we're gonna see a lot of these little barrier islands, man. They might be under evacuation. We'll see, but they're expecting, a lot of wind to the north of the center. So new updates. Looks like the new update might be out. Somebody just said. So let's look. Takes a little while. Sometimes you can read the discussion and they'll tell you the discussion usually is out first. It is out first. So deconvection has developed. Inner core is getting stronger. Initial intensity is up. Nicole. Oh, they haven't raised intensity. Can't believe it. Let's see if they talk about the intensity. It says, let's see. No, they're not really talking about it. I'm surprised, man, which is good. Let's see here. We got any new advisories? Hurricane warning now for east coast of Florida. Hurricane warning now for Boca Raton to the Flagler-Volusia County line. Storm surge added. Let's see. Hurricane warnings. We do have hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings, storm surge warnings. So let's see if the graphic's been updated. All this stuff. Oh, now we got a new surge map. All right, so here's your surge map. It is now showing Florida West Coast 2 to 4 feet, 1 to 3 for Tampa Bay. So we do have a new surge map, 3 to 5 foot on that. Here's your hurricane warnings. There you go. Hurricane warnings are now up for a big chunk of the state. They did not raise the expected intensity. Good news. I'm not a wishcaster by any means, everybody. I just figured they would have raised the intensity. I'm really surprised they didn't do that yet. And it's now tropical storm. It is now officially tropical storm, Nicole. Thank you, Shelly. Yep, I got you. So yeah, pretty much hurricane warnings are out. Everybody's phones are going nuts now, right? Hurricane. That's a large area of the state under hurricane warning. That just came out. So there you go. We're going to see about evacuations now. We're going to see about that. No discussion from them though on the intensity. I'm really surprised on that. But hey, they're the boss, right? We trust them above and beyond everybody else. So there you go. Official hurricane warnings are out. Unfortunately, our good friend Miss Shelley Ross is under a hurricane warning now. Landfall appears that it's going to be late night Wednesday into early hours Thursday. So it does appear it's going to be a rough Wednesday night as far as landfall goes into Thursday morning. That's not fun. It'll be racing out of here. Saturday morning, it's going to be over Connecticut. Remember, big rains are coming on the backside with this front. It's going to be long gone by the weekend. So still keep your guard up on this thing being a little more strong. I'm telling you, I'm not liking what I'm seeing as far as a little stronger system. And again, I'm not hyping up anything. Just it seems like we can see. And the other thing about lowering pressures is we'll end up with more storm surge. So just don't let your guard down here. We could see some. I still think we're going to see storm surge pick up a little bit more as this thing deepens. But we're already seeing. Now we got storm surge up here, Savannah River, 2 to 4 feet. 3 to 5. So Tampa Bay now added in the storm surge side up here north of Tarpon Springs. There you go. The dog is really snoring. I know he woke up. That's his problem. He's got ammonia. Well, Louie's licking him. Hey, Louie. He's getting better. He had ammonia. Give him a break, guys. All right, so that's that. Individual models real quick. Let's just show you all the latest one more time, then I'm going to roll. I got to go vote and get my rental car. Here is the latest GFS showing an incoming system at 979 pressure. That should be quicker than 75 miles an hour. Doesn't matter, but that's where the GFS is doing it. And it comes to the state, plops it out on the other side of Tampa Bay. That's why we have storm surge now expected around Tampa Bay northward. And it still goes into the panhandle, 999. Then there's our big merge as it gets on out of here. The latest icon is showing it's running right now, the 12Z. Wow, that thing runs early. The icon showed a 983, 84 range, a little bit south of the Cape, and cuts through at 989. There's a curve. Latest Euro that came out was 988. However, like I said, it initialized a little high. It looks like it initialized at 998. So, but anyway, the 980 range cuts across the state. So still nasty weather here, West Central Florida. Don't let your guard down on Thursday. We're gonna have squally weather, man, rolling in. I'm telling you, towards Tampa Bay southward a little bit. I'm willing to bet we'll see some school closures there all the way to the Florida West Coast, because the school buses can't drive on the roads when you have tropical storm force winds. So that's the biggest reason schools close is tropical storm force winds, and they become shelters. Schools become shelters. But when you can't get the buses on the road, you can't get the kids to school. That's why they close them up. And let's see, latest Canadian model showing a 987, making landfall just south of the Cape, cutting across the state. I'm telling you guys, you pretty much know what's coming. The big questions, I guess, more than anything now is going to be how strong it gets. The track is pretty much solid. It's a big, wide system. My biggest watch at this point is going to be watching real time and see if this thing tries to get sneaky on us. Latest UK, let's take a look at that. We have not looked at the UK model today. It did fairly well with Ian. It's been doing pretty much the same thing as everybody else as far as development goes. It's showing a 993 cut through the state in a turn. So, high resolution radar getting close. Remember, this wave map is just intense. I'm telling you. The 48-hour wave map, we might be getting into the territory. We can start looking at higher resolution models now, too, as far as the HRR. Usually isn't too bad with tropical systems, believe it or not. So we'll go to the 12Z, zoom into the southeast. We'll start to see what it could look like coming in. There you go. So I was on a radio show this morning. This is Wednesday, Thursday night. This is Thursday, 2 a.m. To the south of the system, usually you don't get much on the south side. So there you can see this clear as day wherever Eyewall is. South side not getting much. Now, there will be squall lines falling in behind it, as always. So watch what happens. As this thing comes through the state, we're going to have some leftover squall lines catching up. So even though this thing passes the state, there's going to be that isolated tropical rain shower tagging along here. And, they're quick. One thing about living in Florida, sunshine, tropical rain band. Sunshine, tropical rain band. So this will be setting up throughout the day on Wednesday night, Thursday. But you can see the heaviest stuff, obviously, to the north side as it spirals in through the state. So there you go. Cat 1 officially is what they're calling. And no discussion at all about it being any stronger. Very surprised. They usually let people know. Well, there we go. The typical reliable GFS. Have they been watching this season? The regional hurricane models are on the northern side. I don't know what that means. Oh, that's track guidance. They don't talk about it. They just don't talk about it being any... so that's good. Maybe they don't believe it. I don't know. But anyway, hurricane coming, all right? Everybody's got their warnings. Everybody's got stuff to do and prepare. We're going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. with Kevin Guthrie. So please tune in for that. It'll be a sketchy live. It'll be from a hotel room. Not sure where I'll be at, but Kevin is a great, done a great job with Ian recovery and educating Floridians about the storm before and after. He is the director of Florida Division of Emergency Management, and we're going to talk about this storm. So tune in tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for sure. We're going to have a very rare opportunity again for little Mike's Weather Page to be talking to the head of the state for the state of Florida. So that's pretty cool. I'll have to comb my hair for that one. All right. So there you go, guys. I hope this was beneficial to you. And it's pretty much cut and dry now. Everything's on the website. There shouldn't be much unknowns except maybe a little stronger system. You should be preparing now. Things are going downhill early tomorrow morning, probably on the before the sun comes up. We're going to start seeing squall lines coming into the state. So that's what we got. All right. I'm thinking about everybody. Hopefully, other than the coastal folks, everybody else should be okay. Just some random big winds and, potentially for some tornadoes. Kind of stuff we see during the summer. But the East Coast is definitely the ones getting battered first, and they're the ones that are going to need the most attention as this thing comes ashore. So, all right, guys, comb my hair. Nancy says, "Yeah, I'm going to read some comments for a minute. I feel bad not reading anything. Let's end the next 5 or 10 minutes talking. Unless you ask something specific, I'm going to ignore you." Cantori's in Melbourne. Well, I'm heading there. I keep saying we're going to have a beer together. That's where I was going. Did somebody tell me I was going? I said I was going to Melbourne first. I even told my mom that. Look, well, I can't pull you up here. Her chat. I told dear old mom this morning I'm going to Melbourne. That's where they lived back when it was called O'Galley. A lot of rain for that's right, North Carolina. You're welcome, Adrian. Thank you, Gail. I love doing this stuff. The dog. I see he's back laying on Hunter again, and he's doing a lot better now. You did a good puppy. You so good. I love him. We'll go back to doggies once we get back to normal weather. Where the heck's Jups at? What the hell's Jups? That sounds great. What the hell's Jups? Where the hell's that at? Jups. Is it a bar and grill? I just Googled Jups Bar and Grill. There's one in Texas. What the hell's Jups? Let's see. I'm just Googling it. I can't find it. Where is it at? Hit Florida. Let's see. We're not going to the famous shrimp injury place, that's for sure. That place, we are going to have a meet and greet, but just not this time around. Hey, Carmen, Pine Island strong. Yeah, we're not forgetting about you guys, that's for sure. That's for sure. But hey, I'll see some of you. I always bounce into some people down there. I'll be covering some. Yeah, Michelle said her phone just started getting hurricane warnings. I guarantee it. So here we go, right? Hurricane warnings. Port St. Lucie, Marcella says. Somebody wants to know about Disney tomorrow. Tiffany, I don't know. I would be willing to bet Thursday is a bad day for Disney World. I would guess that they're not going to be open on Thursday. Definitely flights are going to be affected, guaranteed. Tomorrow, things are going to be sketchy on Wednesday, but Thursday, so if you got flight plans, there's good chances you're going to get messed up. I am going to Volusia County, first, then I'm going south a little bit. This thing keeps ticking north, though. I might be hanging out on Shelly's front yard. All right. Cool beans. All right. Well, I got a lot of work to do. So thank you guys so much. Tropical storm warning now in Orlando, Delia says. I can believe it. We're going to have inland effects all the way through the state of Florida. Big system, man. 300-400 miles from center wide. It's massive. So, all right, storm surge is up. Yep, everything's happening. All right, so just remember, anything you need is on the website. Okay, threats and impacts, discussion, winds, surge, rainfall, spaghetti models, ensembles that you can follow on Zoom Earth. We haven't showed this one yet, but it's a fantastic site that shows you that. We have imagery, who gets wins. I mean, we got everything. We got key messages, very important, from the NHC. There you go. All right. All right, everybody. We'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. Special guest Kevin Guthrie will be live talking about Florida impacts, okay, with the state of Florida right here. YouTube, Facebook.